Regular viewers will have to forgive the tone of this episode. Usually, the videos here are calm and collected. But this is done very quickly. Today is a bad day, and the sheer stupidity we're dealing with is profound. A viewer requested a review the latest E Hoover video. It looks like Hoover's claims are getting progressively dumber. Hoover claims the first shots did not come from 32-135. His proof boils down to the following. It takes 1.2 seconds for sound to travel between Paddock's suite and the tall Ace cell phone. The interval between the supersonic crack and the muzzle report is half a second. Sound travels 170 meters in half a second. Therefore, the shooter was 170 meters away from the cell phone. This is false. This half a second here is not the time the sound travels between the shooter and the cell phone. It is the difference, again, the difference, between the total sound travel time, in this case 1.2 seconds, and the travel time of the bullet. The bullet travel time is not taken into account anywhere in this so-called proof. A bullet is not made of light. It does not reach the target in an instant. It takes time for it to get there. When the crack is heard, it's not the moment the bullet is leaving the barrel. It's some time later. Let's use Hoover's own graphics to illustrate this. This is the time it takes sound to travel from the shooter location to the cell phone. Hoover thinks that the crack thump interval is equal to this time, like this. It's not. The crack thump interval is only one part of it, like this. The other part in the beginning is the time the bullet takes to travel to the target, which is when the crack will reach the listener. This is the bullet travel time, with the audible crack at the end. This is the time it takes the sound to travel from the shooter to the target, at which point the muzzle report is heard. In our case, it's 1.2 seconds. And this is the crack thump interval. In our case, half a second. Ci does not equal M, as Hoover thinks. Ci equals M minus B. The bullet travel time depends on the bullet speed, but the math is much more complex, because the bullet slows down with time. That's why crack thump intervals are listed for specific cartridges and conditions, in pre-computed tables. This is just a random example of such a table, not reflecting the specific conditions or cartridges in Las Vegas. However, if we look up 1.2 seconds for the muzzle report, and half a second crack thump interval, we get a distance of about 450 meters to the shooter. No surprise there. In cases like the Harvest Festival, it gets even more complex, because we need to take into account the direction and distance from the changing bullet path, which affects the crack arrival time. This was explained months ago, in a video posted on November 9, 2017. It looks like some people can't be bothered to research the subject they're presenting. Hoover sums up his video as, "That's physics. No, that's not physics. That's stupidity, clickbait, incompetence, sensationalism, need for attention, and the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's all of these, but certainly not physics." Hoover also says that 170 meters equals half a second, and asks if there are any questions. Yes, we have a question. How does a guy, who doesn't know that bullets don't travel in an instant, have 8,000 subscribers? This would be an excellent question to answer.